All right. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Life of Champ podcast. For today's episode 250, we're going to be discussing what makes the ideal friend, featuring my best friend, Anthony. For the people that do not know you, Anthony, go ahead and introduce yourself.
What's good, everybody? Anthony, I've been on a few times now. We've been friends for 15 years.
Yep, just about 15 years.
15 years, goddamn. Yeah. So,
Yeah, so,
hit rock out.
yep, let's get it, man. So, the idea had originally came from the idea that me and Anthony were having a conversation the other day, and he had asked me this question, and this is something that I thought about a previous time before, with my own self, with my friends that I have in my life, if they could be more ideal. And obviously, like I said, you got to respect everybody, and like you got to appreciate everybody for who they are. But in the same breath, if they could be ideal, what would that look like? And Anthony asked me a specific question. If you want to go ahead and ask it.
Yeah, I asked him, we were on a walk. I asked him, how close am I to the ideal friend?
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought that was very, very good, because I would say most people in general don't really ask that question. They're not very, very curious, and it should be very, very common sense that you should understand the foundations of what creates a friend, creates a best friend, creates a bond, creates something worth keeping throughout the years. But quite frankly, if you really look at it, and this is why we think we're qualified to talk about this, we've been friends for 15 years, and most people don't even have a friend that is past 5 to 10 years. So
Yeah.
that's what I had. That's what originally had spawned the inspiration for this episode. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get into it. Some of these things are gonna be obviously very, very basic. Hopefully, some of these things are going to be a little bit more um, less common, or maybe something that will make you think about some of the traits
Yeah.
that makes an ideal friend, or creates the embodiment of an ideal friendship. So the first thing I want to say before we get into it, my own personal perception of this, I think the foundation of a friendship in general, when you're really looking at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Friendships are built on the state of play. And this is something that I've discussed on many episodes before, but essentially the state of play being a commitment to many different games across time, where you guys can be having the best and most entertaining time that you possibly can, right? So, I guess that's how you even approach a person in general. You approach them with, I guess, an unconscious asking of play, an unconscious invitation to play. Maybe they'll say something, crack a little joke, and that is the beginning of the game, right? Um, most people, I'm sure most people don't even think of it as that specific way. But what do you think about that, as far as like an example, or like a foundation?
Like a foundation is the foundation of play. Yeah, it's yeah, just generally the ability to have a good time with an individual, no matter what it may be. Really, it's I had something and I lost it in my mind. It's you can literally just whatever it may be. Um, it links you to this person, and you already know it's like you're here for this time, and it's gonna be the best possible time you can have, regardless of what it is. Actually, like, but you already know what the intention is, to have a good time with this person. So,
For sure,
but but also it should be innate though. Like it should just be you're just having a good time.
right?
Yeah.
And you did you started to talk about something that I thought was very, very interesting. You were talking about the concept of, it doesn't matter what you do; it's
Yeah.
more of who you're with when you're doing it, and that's something that I think is not something that people really specify um as an embodiment of friendship, is understanding the foundation that it really doesn't matter what you do. If you're doing it with the right people, if you're doing it with the right person, then it kind of doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah.
Me and Anthony could be in some of the shittiest situations in life, right? But we've been friends for so long that the situation would automatically be less shitty in that specific situation. So I think those are things that you must keep into account, right? And I'll go ahead and extend on that a little bit with the ideal state of play, right? Like I said, the foundation being play. The issue, I think, is a lot of people take life very, very seriously, and almost like in a pessimistic viewpoint. I feel like the reason why people stop being friends in general is because they stop that state of play. They stop that having a good time. They stop that childlike energy, not exactly childish, but childlike energy, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that that's very true. They think whatever it was that like what it was that linked them together is just it's gone now that they've grown up, and because it's gone, that they just slowly grow apart, and it's like, well, you don't need to change that you're playing. You need to change how you play. Really, it's it's not the same. Obviously, it's not going to be the same now as it was 5 years ago. It's not going to be the same now as it is 5 years from now. So it's just you have to evolve as your state of play evolves.
Hmm.
Yeah.
How would you say you've seen that within our own personal friendship? Because I think that's something that's very very interesting. Something that's been altering throughout the years. Obviously, 15 years, especially very very early on in our life, those are the most foundational years of creating your own person, right?
Yeah.
Developing your persona, developing your personality, all that. So, how would you say that we've evolved that?
Evolved over time. Well, I'd say because I still remember a lot of it throughout the years. Because when we were very little, the way we played, it was just we're just outside playing basketball, which obviously we still love, but we're just outside playing basketball, just doing whatever, screwing around. Then as we got older, a little bit, middle school, it was playing video games together, and we evolved out of that. We don't. I can't remember the last time we played video games together. That was what,
At least 5 years ago,
at least,
probably.
pro- yeah, five plus, probably more than that. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like 6 or 7. Not the point, right? So our state of play evolved to playing video games, and then after we got out of that state, it was mostly just being active, like playing basketball again.
Hmm.
Good for that time period during like COVID or whatever. Didn't get to hang out as much, and then our state of play evolved to working out and doing stuff like this. We still have a good time, but it's completely different play. We're not on video games. We're not running around outside acting like little kids. But
Not all the time.
not all the time.
But yeah,
but we still have a good time regardless of what we do.
100%.
Yeah.
And yeah, that kind of leads me to my next point, right? With just being open and being willing to adapt to the circumstances of life, right? It's the fact that people aren't open enough, and they're not adaptable enough.
Yeah.
Obviously, we all have different phases in our life, different things that we do, different habits that we uphold, and different people that come along for that journey, right? But it's a matter of if you're willing to adapt. Here's the thing, right? If me and our friendship might have been completely diminished if one of us had refused the willingness to be adaptable and the willingness to go ahead and change. So, for example, a couple years ago, maybe like 5 or 6, about 5 years ago, I would say, we were right out of high school. I'd asked Anthony, "Hey, we should start going to the gym." If Anthony had just said no, our entire friendship would have been completely different, right there, because he would have stopped wanting to play and attending the game of the friendship, right?
Yeah.
And just something that small. And even with the friendships that you have right now, maybe you're in a stagnant type of friendship where maybe you're limited to certain habits or certain places that you go. And let's just say you want to go ahead and do more or be more for your own self. And this person is trying to keep you in this specific way with these specific habits, upholding these specific identities. You must ask yourself, am I doing enough? This is what the ideal friend would look like. Am I doing enough that's going to allow me to change and allow for us to evolve as a friendship in its entirety? Or is this person truly just holding back the entire friendship that does exist? Right?
Yeah.
Those are pretty fair questions, would you say?
Yeah, those are very fair questions. It's because here's the thing: if you know that you are doing enough, then you have to know that it's on their end, and you have to address that on their end. It's like, okay, we need to grow and evolve together. Because I even remember back when you had that gym question for me, like you said, we're gonna start going to the gym. My first thought was, I'm like, I like going to the gym. It's fun in general, but I was like, I don't plan on start working out like that. It wasn't something I wanted to do, but I always remember it's not what you're doing, it's who you're doing it with. So I was like, simple enough. I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And it's been a blast every single time. So if you know the person who is your friend, and you have to address it to them in a way that they understand, in a situation like, yo, if in order for us to grow, we have to be ready to evolve. And if you stay stuck in this area, it's gonna fall apart on us eventually. It's hard to, and that's a hard conversation to have, but it's one that you need to have if you want to grow as a kind of as a friend. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like you were saying, with having those hard conversations, that's another element of being the ideal friend is just being honest, telling the truth.
Yeah.
Understand what that person needs to hear, right? I've done this plenty of times with Anthony where I'm like, Anthony, I think you need to hear this, right? No one's gonna tell you it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the one to tell you it, regardless of how you feel after, right? If here's the thing, you must trust, hopefully, that your friend would have the best intent in mind for you. They have their best interest that's being taken into account, right? If Anthony believes that, then he might take my suggestion and do something with it, right? And like I said, just that foundation in general, right? Being willing to tell the truth, to be able to do it in a playful way, with the right intent, and just with the foundation of honesty. I feel like some people, and I don't really understand it too much within a male friendship, but for there not to be a level of honesty or a foundation of honesty and trust in one's word, I just don't understand that. Like for me, if you would lie to a woman, which I wouldn't do, right? But if you lied to a woman to try to get your way in an interaction, that's one thing. But there's really no incentive in lying in a male friendship, right?
Yeah, none at all. None at all, really, no.
And you wouldn't lie outside of that if
Yeah.
there wasn't any, incentive in lying. You wouldn't lie in general. So,
Yeah.
with that being said,
Mm.
like I said, everybody just needs a foundation, just a foundation of honesty, a foundation of trust, a foundation of just truth telling,
Yeah.
and that helps ease a lot of different things for sure, right? And obviously, the way in which you say that is definitely gonna go a long ways. You must understand who you're speaking to,
Yeah.
right? You must understand thoroughly, right? Because if you don't, then obviously you might step on a boundary, right?
Hmm.
And I think that goes hand in hand with that, right? Understanding what boundaries do exist. Me and Anthony, we really don't have too many boundaries. We never really did. Me and Anthony really
Yeah.
never got into fights like that. Pretty
Yeah.
much never, right?
Whatever. Yeah.
Which I know most people can't speak for, and most people probably can't relate with. But
Yeah.
you just have to. I don't know. What would you say is attributing to that specific lack of an issue that so many people have?
Lack of what the boundaries thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Not only has it never been a problem that we haven't had, it's never something we actually even discussed really because it never happened having it. And it goes back to the honesty point. It's the fact that you are always so honest is like I already know I'm getting the most 100% genuine version of you, so I don't really need to. I was like there's no boundary to really to cross because any bound all the other boundaries are kind of obvious that they should be you know, they shouldn't even need to be mentioned. Really, is bound not to cross it. They're like, it's just common sense, really, or at least I would hope they're common sense boundaries.
Yeah, that respect things in it. It's a slippery slope,
Yeah,
man. It's a slippery slope for damn sure.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know, especially with honesty, I always get the blunt truth from you. I was like, you did this wrong all the time, and I was thinking, I'm like, damn. But at the same time, in the same breath, I think I'd rather hear it from you than to hear it from a stranger or
That's for damn sure.
or from a group of people. It's like you want to hear this from someone who has your best intention in heart and in mind, than from someone who just either you don't know that well or you don't know at all. That tries to check you on this, and it looks so much worse. So yeah. So and here's the thing: if you don't have that honesty, if you're just willing to go along, don't ever be a yes man for your friend. That is not support. That is not friendship at all whatsoever. You got to give them the truth. You can't just be like, yeah, you're good. No. If you're not good, you got to let them know. If you see something wrong with them, you got to let them know. Otherwise, you're practically just watching them fail at that point. And a friend
100%.
doesn't just watch your friend fail.
That's for damn sure. That's for damn sure. Let me check the comments real quick, and then we'll go ahead and go on from there. But yeah, I think all the things we do have more to talk about, but I think that's a good foundation that'll set up for the ideal friendship. Hold up, give me 1 second. I'm new to this. All right, let's use in the chat. All right, perfect. Everybody's in the chat. All right.
All right.
So along with this, right, along with the transition of evolving and changing as individuals and as a friendship, I'd say, you must understand that the thing that really is going to bond you to that, and this is what I firmly believe, is you must have common goals, you must have common habits that you build along the way that you also shed along the way. That I think that goes hand in hand. You can't just, do new things and then also keep the old things, right? I think life is very, very, it comes in seasons, it comes in change, right? And I think you being very, very conscious of that as a friendship, as an individual within a friendship, I think is going to be very, very key for sure.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. You can't be you have to have common goals because really and realistically they should come more naturally too because just with the adapting to people and changing when they change. If you refuse to change when your friend changes, it's kind of like the energy shifts and you guys aren't on the same page anymore, you know.
That's true.
So common goals makes it easier, but realistically, if you guys are growing and you both know you're growing, then some of the goals should be similar or the same at some point. Anyways, not at some point, at the same point, around the same time.
100% for sure. Um, and yeah, I feel like some friendships in general are obviously meant to be something that must be evolved from, unfortunately, right? But you must understand what you're dealing with in your current situation. Maybe you're dealing with the person that you would like to be friends with for the rest of your life. Maybe you're dealing with the person who's just coming in for a few seasons. And obviously, you must be very, very aware of that and be, I'd say just aware of that, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody's gonna be willing to change. Not everybody's gonna be willing to evolve. Not everybody's gonna be making it to your next chapter. Not everybody's going to have common goals or maintain those goals or pursue those goals. And not everybody's going to want to do the same things that you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? And that's just what it is, right? That's obviously all the individuality that does exist, but what it is trying to understand that there can be a coexistence, right? Another thing that I want to mention that I think you must ask, and this is something that I had said in a recent podcast, when evaluating your friendship in general, you must ask yourself and be honest with this, right? If you're evaluating a friend, maybe you're deciding whether or not to bring them into the next chapter of life. Ask yourself the question. Ask yourself the question of, damn, I forgot. I'm sick. Okay. Give me a second. Yeah, I'm cooked. I'm cooked. Go ahead and give me a second. Go ahead and give me a second, Anthony. Go ahead.
Okay, I was about to say you can ask yourself a question: can this person grow with me, or are they willing to, or do I see traits of someone who is willing to grow in the way that I know I'm trying to grow as well,
Sure.
or or do I see potential in this interaction going further than what it is now? You know, because obviously, like you said before, with people are here. Some people are here for seasons. Some people are there for the long run. You need to be able to. And it's hard for some people, but you need to be able to differentiate from who is gonna stick around in the long run and who is here now, and you have to be willing to accept that some people are just here for now. You know, they're not gonna be with you 10 years from now, even 5 years from now, maybe. And that, especially if and you'll recognize this too, if you only share a state of play with these people for a very limited time, there's no like it's purely just a fun time, never any like interest in deep conversations or deeper thinking, deeper understanding of one another. You're never really gonna reach a higher level of friendship or understanding with these people. It's just like they're purely here for this time, and once this time is up, it's up.
Well, for sure. And then which got me to my point that I just remembered, right? You must ask yourself the question, are the best days of doing whatever or being whatever with this friend behind me, or are the best days in front? Are the best days behind? Or are the best days are right now?
Right now.
You must ask yourself that question. So you might be working with somebody who's a good friend, right? But it might not make as much sense, or maybe you guys haven't been making the effort to go ahead and extend this outside of the work environment. So maybe that'd be a friend that you have right now, right? Or maybe you guys are making efforts, and obviously this is a little example, but maybe you're making efforts outside of work, and maybe you can see yourself, when you look into the future, maybe that's something that can coexist in the future, right? But I feel like another thing with friends in general, and this is something that I think has to go along with that thorough communication, that transparency, is you must be willing to understand that there's going to be certain people that you're going to try to be friends with, that you're going to try to bring them along the journey, and they're just simply not going to be there. They're simply not going to want to be there. They might just be a person that is meant for, like Anthony mentioned, meant for a season. And like I said, it's very, very hard to not get caught up, especially if you don't have a lot of friends. It's very, very hard to not get caught up in that understanding of that. But in the same breath, it's like, what else are you gonna do, right?
Yeah, it's
So that's just what it is.
it's what it is. And for those people, and you would think that you can bring them along, but some people are just not either ready for that phase, or they're just not on the same wavelength as you, and you got to accept them for what it is,
Facts.
because you know you'll sometimes there's some signs, like you'll see a little pushback, or like no responses, or just a lack of engagement, and those will be signs, and you're like, all right, this person isn't, at least they're not ready for that, like I thought they were, and you got to let them go, but
For damn sure.
but it is what it is,
100%. Yeah, there has to be a willingness, and this is something that we also discussed the other day around this topic. I think this is something that also has to be taken into account when it comes to being the ideal friend, right? What is the realistic amount of time that you could spend on, let's just say on a monthly basis, to be able to maintain a certain friendship, right? So for me, I think it has to be, you have to at least see each other at least twice a month. I think that's not completely unreasonable,
Yeah.
given the time and everything like that. What do you think about that?
Yeah, at least twice a month. Yeah, I was like every 15 days. Yeah, which isn't bad, because you need some time to at least catch up on your life, or plan something out, to do something. But if you need seen each other like once a month, I'd say you're like, that's practically, that's almost just an occasional friend at that point.
You're like renting them almost,
Exactly. That's, yeah, you're renting them for a season, pretty much. Yeah.
pretty much.
If you see them at least, but here's the thing: if it is just twice a month, those have to be very good interactions during those 2 times a month.
That's
I'd
for
say
damn sure.
That's for damn sure. Because if you, the more, I'd say, the more interactions you have in a on that schedule, it's the less that's required to have quality interactions. But as long as the quality is, there's still some level of quality, because you need the highest level of quality if it's just going to be like 2 times a month. If you span that out to like 4 times a month, you see this person, you could have you could, shifty, a little bit more play, a little less, too deep of intention. But then obviously, if you see them all the time, then you just do whatever the fuck you want, and have a good time regardless.
For sure, 100%. Is there anything else that comes to mind when you ask that question? When you think of friendships in general, is there anything else that you think? I feel like me and Anthony in this conversation, me and him are so locked in. Sometimes it's kind of hard to be able to to detach the reality and the ideas, right? To be able to extract the ideas out of the reality. I don't know if you feel that same way. It's like things that should be common sense, or things that should be like, second nature when it comes to friendships. It's hard. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to extract. So bear with us as we try.
Oh yeah, for sure. Even throughout this podcast, part of me was like respect, and I was like, honesty, as far as big as it is, and as honest as far as long as we've been doing it, it feels like it should be like the most obvious thing in a friendship. But when you look out, I highly doubt there's a lot of friendship that aren't as not honest as we are with each other. There's
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who aren't willing to say, hey, bro, this wasn't right. This wasn't right. Why are you doing this? You're making yourself look bad right now. Like, you shouldn't be acting like this, or whatever it is, or you're moving wrong, or I feel like there's not a lot. I wouldn't say there's few, but I wouldn't say it's not an abundance of friendships that have genuine honesty, regardless of how it may come off.
100%.
So
And the thing about that is it's hard to have understanding and honesty. If that makes any sense. So like, let's just say somebody is honest, but they don't understand that you have the best intent in mind for them.
yeah,
Then the entire interaction changes. Maybe they think you're an asshole
yeah,
or something like that. So yeah, that's just one of those things. Like I said, it's a little bit hard to extract all the information, but I think this is a good foundation at the very least, right?
yeah.
I'll reiterate some of the points that I had made, and maybe I can get something out of it a little bit more, right? foundation essentially is play, right? At the very, very basic, you're going to be deciding to play a bunch of different games over the course of time. The more games that you play, the better you get at playing. The easier it is and the longer your friendship will be. The less games that you have, the more easily you guys are able to get bored and the less evolving that comes between both of you guys, right? And here's the thing, if you're going to have a friend where you guys want to stay at the same level forever and do the same shit always and that's it, be my guest, I guess. But if you're a person that wants to elevate, who wants not only for yourself to elevate but everyone else around you to elevate, then it would only make sense that you would play multiple games across time. And like I said, I think that's what it is, right? Playing new games, getting out, getting new experiences, having even more to talk about. Those are essentially the foundations of a friendship, right? So if you're watching this right now, you have no friends, or you're watching this and maybe you're struggling with a few different friends that you have, you should be searching for friends that have at least this basic understanding. And of course, some of these things really go without saying, right?
Yeah.
Right. These are second nature things. Some people it's almost as if you got it or you don't got it.
Yeah.
Honestly. And most people that I found out, I've been authentic, I've been genuine. Most people, for whatever reason, that doesn't even work out all the time with some of the people that I've had and have tried to make friends with, right? You have people, for whatever reason, they have their own issues. I'm not gonna give you my entire life story today, but essentially like I said, different seasons. That's just what it is in the most basic form. Different seasons, and you must have an understanding of that for sure. So
For damn sure. It's crazy. I had something to go along with that, but I completely forgot what I lost it. I'm sick for that. It's crazy.
it's okay. We'll get it back. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But let me see if there's anything else.
His foundation is play. Oh yeah, that's what it was. I got it back, right? Because I know. I mentioned. I remember you said the more games you have, the better you get at them, and the less games you have, the more bored you get with them. And if you don't get any more, then you're cooked pretty much. It's with that. It's because once you get good at the game, you master it, and then you move on, which move on to the next game, which is the evolving the play deal. Because once you master it, obviously that's when you get bored with it. Once you get bored with it, then you move on to your next game.
At least that's what you're supposed to do.
At least that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah.
100%.
Which is how you go through life, at least through friendship. And whatever that game may be, it should be growing you in some way, shape, or form. It should be growing you and obviously your friends.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. But yeah, essentially that's what it is, right? And I think you're almost looking at it from almost like a metaphorical sense, I guess, in a little way, I guess. When people think about friendships, they don't think about games, they don't think about play, they don't think about these things. But like I said, most people are probably going to just dispose of them or act as if that's like a childish type of deal. But like I said, it's getting back to the childlike state,
Yeah.
right, where you can have fun. But what is fun, right? What is play? All these things, asking these things. And more importantly, answering them is going to get you a lot farther, for damn sure. So, yeah, that's what I believe. That's what me and Anthony at least believe. What is the foundation of friendship, and more importantly, getting closer to being the ideal friend, right? One thing I want to mention with this as well is this is going to look different for every single person, right? Some people are going to need certain things from a friend. Certain people are going to need different things from your friendship, right? You cannot always. In a weird sense, I can't always act the same way that I am with Anthony with other people. And just as maybe they have a friend as well, maybe I can't exactly act the ways in which they would want from that. So you must understand there's a take and a give, kind of, right? You must understand what this person needs, who this person is, the goals that they have, and maybe you can blend in with that. Maybe you guys have things in common that are going to be able to maintain the interaction. Maybe not. But yeah, I think we talked about that a little bit yesterday.
Yeah, we did. And with that, what's it called? Evolving to having childlike as opposed to childish. I still remember a time that you told me about. It couldn't have been more than 1 or 2 years ago. No, was it last year? It's either early last year or late 2 years ago, around this time 2 years ago. And I remember you had told me it was a conversation you had with Jaden. She said, "Oh, you guys are finally hanging out," and then you told me he was like, "What are you talking about? We've been hanging out every day, you know." But it was at the time when it was deep work in the morning, workout in the afternoon, and then just do whatever at nighttime. And I remember you telling me, and I was like, because we were making plans to either play basketball or go out, and we were like, and she had told you that, oh well, like we're hanging out for the first time in forever, and we're like, we've been hanging out all the time. What are you talking about? But it's like it was the first time we were hanging out that wasn't doing work or working out. And through our perspective, we were like, we've been having fun this whole time. You know, we've
100%.
we've been obviously, yeah, we're doing work, but it's been fun the whole time. So we consider it hanging out the whole time, and it didn't even occur until you brought it up. Then to either of us, because I remember I didn't think about it either until you brought it up to me. You told me about it, and you were like, "This is actually like the first time we've actually gone out, like hung out outside of doing work and working out." I'm like,
Putting the work in,
putting the
fellas.
work in,
Exactly.
exactly.
100%.
And I was like, you know what? That's a very good point. I didn't even notice that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, friendships. Well, I'm gonna read the comments and then we'll go ahead and end it off here in a minute.
Yeah.
What do we got? Let's go. One person will always influence the other, positively or negatively. That's another reason why it's good to have the same values. Exactly.
Exactly.
100%. Yeah, that was a good comment, Jaden. Very, very good. Uh, is there any way you want to respond to that specifically?
Yes, yes. This is very true. Positively or negatively, that's very true. And with that, be very aware and try to either, I guess I wouldn't say I guess you can say change. If someone is affecting you negatively, like they have bad habits, like they don't, all they do is like they sit around, or all they do is just indulge in vices the live long day, no matter what. They don't have any plans for the future. They're content with where they're at, and they don't plan on going anywhere further. They don't plan on bettering themselves in the long run. You got to either try to get them out of that mindset, or you got to let them go, because they will drag you down with them.
Yeah, 100%. That's one of those. That's one of those brutal things in reality. You also have to understand who's bringing out the best of you, who's also bringing out the worst of you, right?
Yeah.
Who is the angel on your shoulder? Who is the devil on your shoulder? Right? That is very, very hard. I'm not gonna say it's very hard to distinguish that, but it's that's something that you must be very, very conscious of, because that's truly what it is at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very well said, Jaden, for sure.
No, for sure. Remember, this friendship is indeed a ship. You want to keep the ones that are steering it. Let go of the ones that are poking holes in that fucking boat, bro.
That's for damn sure. That's for damn sure. Very well said. But other than that, is there anything else you want to leave the people off with?
I don't. I got nothing actually this time.
All right, I'll mention this, right. So if you're a little bit older, it's gonna be a little bit harder for you to make friends. Making friends is definitely a challenge. It's nothing particularly easy, because, like I said, there's going to be some people that are gonna be willing to play games across time. Some people are obviously not, or not willing, or whatever, have their own shit going on. But at the very least, I think everybody would be best if they were actively trying to be friendly, actively trying to be friends with people, actively trying, and more importantly, especially if you need it, right? If you don't have a best friend, if you are a person that has very little friends, I think this is something that should be a pursuit that is going to be able to be paying off dividends for the rest of your life, right? I've invested a lot of time into my friendship with Anthony, and it's paid off time and time and time again, and will continue to pay off for the rest of your life. It's something that is, you don't know the value of it unless you have it.
Yeah.
And when you don't have it, you might not value it as much, and it's because you don't know what you don't have. For sure.
That's facts.
So, with somebody speaking from the frame of experience, from the frame of 15 years of friendship, it's going to be within your best interest to find as many friends as you possibly can, and of course, hopefully as many good friends as this life can provide you, for sure, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully they're all going to be having similar goals, right? Me and Anthony have similar goals. And I think some of these things are very, very obvious, maybe a little less obvious, right? There's going to be certain masculine goals that go kind of go without being said. There's going to be certain feminine goals. And obviously, I'm not a woman, but let's just say you're a woman watching this, right? There's going to be certain feminine goals that you guys have set out. Obviously, the more clear you are with that, especially as far as what you want with your own life, is going to be much better. The clearer you are with that with yourself, the clearer it is, or rather, the more blurry it is going to be for someone else, as far as getting them to understand that they might potentially need that or want that. So, is there anything that you have to say when it comes to making friends, or maintaining friendships?
Yes. I know she mentioned the age thing. I will say, if obviously the intended audience for this is younger people around our age. Do it now while you're still young, because it will be a lot harder when you get older, when you're already refined and you already know exactly what you want, what you do and don't trust about people. You know, it'll be a lot harder to build connections when you're older. Um, so do it now while you're young, to the best of your ability, and do it with very intentionally. Obviously, you know, so you know who's worth keeping around. Um, and I remember you did a podcast on timeless work. I'd say friends are also timeless work.
100%.
If you have the right friends, yeah, it's timeless work. Because I was about to say, from now, not even from now, from 15 years ago till the day I'm gone, or to the day one of us are gone. I was like, I already know who got my back. So
That's for damn sure.
yeah, I know
That's for damn sure.
exactly.
And yeah, just be more social. Obviously, there's going to be little repercussion of that, right? So just be more social. Find some friends. Enjoy life together. You know, it's gonna be much easier for you to attain goals if most people are also trying to pursue those same goals with you.
Yeah.
And if you're by yourself, or if you have friends that have opposing goals, it's gonna be much harder for you to attain that. And that's something that you must be very, very real and honest with yourself with, for sure, when analyzing that. But other than that, this was episode 250, 1/4 of the way to 1,000 of the Life of Champ podcast featuring the boy Anthony.
Yes, sir.
Make sure you follow me on Twitch, TikTok, Rumble, Spotify, X, all the platforms at Life of Champ podcast on every single platform. Follow Anthony on Instagram. What's your Instagram?
Uh, I have no idea. I'm barely. I don't.
You'll find him somewhere, hopefully. Shit. If
Yeah.
you find me, you'll probably find him.
Yeah, Anthony Washington, 2001. I don't know,
All right,
something
fine.
like that.
All right. But that's all I have to say for today. Is there anything else you want to say before I end it off?
No, that's all. Y'all be safe out there.
For sure. Welcome to the winning team. Tap into my school community that I have posted down in the link in the description. And other than that, stay winning, fellas. That's what it is, man. Y'all have a good night. Tap on the next podcast on Thursday.